everyone, it's Trace McMillan and today I'm going to do a webinar for you on divorce. Now, I've outlined for you in our previous webinars what documents you need, what the court's looking at before they'll make it a divorce order for you, and what happens when you separate and what you've got to do. But today we're focusing on the divorce procedure. So what do you actually have to do? So this is your step-by-step guide, which will work in conjunction with those previous webinars that we've done for you. So let's get started. So step one is, how do you actually get a divorce? The very first thing you've got to do is you've actually got to go to this website. It is up on the screen now on the slides. It's www.comcourts.gov.au. This is the very first place you've got to do to do anything. This is where you're going to do your online application. This is where you're going to file online. This is where you're going to pay for your divorce application. What you're going to need to do is you're going to need to register and create a profile for yourself. Okay, that's what's going to give you your access. Now, once you've done that, the next step is you've got to make a decision. Are you going to file your divorce and apply for it as a sole application, which means by yourself and not with the consent of your spouse? Or are you and your spouse going to file a joint application together? It's very important because it'll change how you're going to actually do some of the procedures, okay? Now, here's the pros and cons of both, because there are pros and cons of doing it both ways. So if you're filing jointly together with your spouse, the pros is that you're not going to need to serve the documents or prove that you've given a copy of those documents to your spouse. So that saves a lot of time, potentially a bit of money, that type of thing. If you do file jointly with your spouse, then there is no requirement for you to attend court. You don't have to, once you've filed in your application and it gives you a court date, you don't actually physically have to turn up for that court date. And the cons to it though, is that you both, if you're wanting to get an exemption or a reduction in your divorce application fee, you're both going to have to satisfy the exemptions for the reduction in the fee to be eligible. So it can't just be if, for instance, if you're unemployed but your spouse is earning $100,000, it can't be that you can claim the exemption. It has to be either all or nothing, both of you or nothing. Okay. Now, if you're going to file for a divorce individually, like on your own, then the con obviously is you're going to have to go through and you're going to have to serve the application on your spouse. So that means you're going to have to prove to the court and fill out the forms required to show that you've actually given them a copy of the application and showing them that there is a court date that they're permitted to turn up to and answer if they wish. Now, the pros of it is that if in fact you are seeking that exemption for a reduction in the divorce application fee, then you only need to satisfy it on your behalf that you have one of those exemptions. So those exemptions, just to be really quick, is you need to have had a healthcare card, so a senior's healthcare card, a pensioner's card, or your normal, like your Centrelink healthcare card. You need to have been either in receipt of AB study or OS study, or in receipt of legal aid. So if legal aid are representing you for, say, a children's matter, then that would be enough to get you the exemption. If that's not the case and you haven't, or you have to have been like under 18 or even incarcerated. So that's a prisoner currently serving time in jail. Now, if one of those things don't apply, then the only other one is that you've got to prove that you're going to suffer financial hardship and you're going to have to go through and fill out the form that requires you to prove what your day-to-day living expenses are, etc., for the court to be satisfied with it. But only you have to prove that. You don't need both of you to do so. Now, you won't need to attend court if you choose not to, if you have filed individually, on the condition that there are no children of the marriage who are under the age of 18 years. If there are children, you have to turn up to court if you're filing on your own. Now, and that's absolutely mandatory. The court will, they will adjourn a matter off and say, hey, you've got to turn up again, and they'll give you another date. And if you don't turn up then they can actually just dismiss your entire application. So that's really important for you to know. Now, now that you've got your ComCourt's login details, etc., you've got to go through and you've got to complete the application for your divorce online. It's all done online these days. You can't fill it out by hand and then just walk it into the court anymore. You actually have to do it online. They will not receive it or accept it in any other form. Now, when you are filing your application for a divorce online, you are going to have to also upload some supporting documentation. So the supporting documentation you're going to need is your registered marriage certificate. So this is not the certificate that you signed on the day of your wedding. It's not the one that's got your handwritten signature. It is the one that looks like your birth certificate, that's typed out, that got sent to you probably a month or 2 months after your marriage ceremony occurred. That's your registered marriage certificate. That is the certificate that the court is after to prove that you're, to demonstrate evidence of your marriage. Now, if your marriage is if you got married less than 2 years prior to the application that you're making for your divorce, then you're also going to have to upload a copy of your counselling certificate. So if you're not sure where to get that counselling certificate, if you look at one of our other webinars, we've got the details there. So it's Family Relationship Advice Line can actually assist you in referring you to counsellors who can give you the appropriate certificate. But you're going to need to have that. If you're not able to attend on that counselling, then what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to upload an affidavit which outlines all the reasons why you should have an exemption from the court to not have to attend through that counselling. So that's such things as you have a physical distance issue. So one person is over in America, one person's here, so counselling's not practical. You don't know where one person's located. Maybe there's severe domestic violence. You'll have to put that all in an affidavit that you're going to have to write up yourself in order to file it in court, okay? And that's what you do online. In addition to that, you may need another affidavit if in fact you've been separated under one roof, whether it's 2 years or not. If you're saying that you have separated but you're still living together under one roof, you are going to have to do that affidavit which outlines all of those reasons why you say you're separated. So that is, you're living in separate rooms, you're no longer engaging in intercourse, you've divided up your bank accounts, you're paying your own bills, your own food, your own way. Maybe it's you're dividing up the chores, so you're doing your own chores and your own washing and things like that. More importantly, you're socializing separately, so you're not going out pretending to the world outside that you're still married, and communicating that separation to people outside of your relationship. So family and friends is fine. You may even want to upload an affidavit from that friend or family member who you've spoken to, who can actually confirm that you in fact have separated. Okay, so that's a very important thing to do. You can have more than one affidavit uploaded. Now, in addition to that, you're going to have to demonstrate that you have organised and made arrangements for your children. So if you're going through a divorce, whether you're attending in person or not, if you have to attend and there are children, then the fact is the court is going to want to hear about what those arrangements are for the children. So you may need to go through and do an affidavit. It doesn't have to be very long, but just outlining where the children are going to school, what times they're spending with each parent, how's that working, etc. So you'll have to upload that onto supporting documents with your application for a divorce. Okay, now once you've uploaded all of those things, you're going to have to pay the filing fee, or you're going to have to upload the fee exemption form. So that's on the basis of financial hardship form that you'll have to fill out. If you're not sure where to get that, go onto the federal court website, and they will have a form there for you to fill in for waiving the divorce fee application.